Welcome to Players Only, your backstage pass behind the scenes of today's PC and video game industry. I'm your host, Scott Steinberg, and this week we're taking a look at the state of the business. Ready to see where we are, where we've been, and maybe where we've gone astray? Buckle up, it's time to play.
Everybody's playing games today. You know, traditional enthusiast gamers like us and kids, they were always going to play games. But now, because of Nintendo and these casual games, moms, grandmas, everybody's into games. It's not just a boys' club anymore.
One of the biggest misconceptions about gaming that, I was going to say that I want to clear up, but it's not even want to clear up, that I wish I could rent an entire auditorium just to say to people, please, there is more to the game industry than Grand Theft Auto. There is more to the game industry than these bad games. That everything you hear on TV about games may not be true.
Easily the biggest misconceptions about gamers and gaming is that they're lazy and apathetic. That was propagated by anti-games activists largely who want to paint them all as children and uninvolved. When in fact, Generations X and Y is pretty much grown up gaming as part of their broader entertainment diet.
What are some of the most common mistakes that people tend to make when they stereotype games in the media?
I think they tend to think that if they think of a video game, they automatically think of something that's either violent or something that's frivolous or useless, where actually there's such a wide range of games. Everything isn't just an M-rated title running around, although that's what makes the headlines. There's still brilliant, beautiful, fun, engaging small games also that have nothing to do with violence.
So where did these stereotypes come from?
The game business went astray when they forgot that most people have a life, have a job, have other things they need to do. And I believe that once the controllers went from one button and joystick, that was the end. Once it turned out to be a QWERTY keyboard in your hand, that says that the casual gamer had a learning curve that they weren't willing to go over. How much pain do you want when you think in your mind that you're only going to play games for 15 minutes until you have to go pick up the kids? So I think that what happened was it got focused on the 18-year-old male and lost sight that there's actually a 50-year-old female and a 40-year-old businessman who wants to have some fun but doesn't want to make a career of it.
Okay, so now we know the current state of the game, but what's next for 2008? I'll give you a hint. Quick, name what all of these things have in common. The Mona Lisa, the Eiffel Tower, Citizen Kane, the Beatles' White Album, Nirvana's Nevermind, and BioShock?
Yes, contrary to Roger Ebert, games are absolutely an art form, and he's just plain wrong.
I think video games were always a form of art, but you're absolutely right. In the traditional sense of what people are now considering an art, yes. Because one of the necessary components of art is that it's not transitive, that it doesn't get forgotten or washed away. I think a lot of the art that we were making in the early days was like sandcastles. When the tide came, it was different. Or in this case, when the next platform came, it was different. But we're finally getting to the point where we have stories that we can tell that last beyond the platform.
I think if anyone's ever called a movie art, then I know that games are art, because I think we have more talented artists, our concept guys are better, our modelers are better, our tech is better, so I absolutely think that games they're really the most interesting expression of art that's going on today, except for Pop 40.
Games are art. Well, right now we have. That is such a wonderfully subjective question because it gets to the meaning of art itself. And every time someone tries to define art, they defeat the purpose of it in the first place. Art is always in the eye of the beholder. If it communicates a message, any message to anyone, and someone says that that message is an intentional statement or says that what they've made is art, it's art. We wouldn't have Duchamp, we wouldn't have any of the movements when people did ready-mades, etc. So are video games art? Yeah, if that's the intent behind it, yes. If it's intended to be entertainment product, and that's how the craftsman represent it, then that's what it is. If somebody actually sets out to either make a statement, evoke a response, make you think, then it is art in every sense of the word. Just because it started off as a couple of bloops and bleeps that were only enjoyed by drunks with a few quarters in a bar doesn't mean it can't evolve into something more significant. That's pretty much the history of film with all the penny arcades of the turn of the century.
Silicon Knights calls video games the 8th art form, and the 7th art form is a reference to film, and they combined the spatial and cognitive arts before that and moving pictures, and we think gameplay cements that. It's another layer that cements everything, so it's sort of the next evolution. So without question, video gaming is an art form, and Silicon Knights, one of our driving factors is to try to promote the art form. More people play video games than they read books, watch movies, listen to music, and that's going to continue to happen. Average video gamer now is 39 years old, and as the demographics grow older, that's going to continue to climb. So pretty soon everyone will be playing video games, and it's just going to be like going to the movies. It's going to be dominant.
And like cinema, gaming's actually got its own interactive achievement awards complete with red carpet. Co-hostess Diana Falzone and I hit the show to find out more about where the medium is headed.
Oh, I think that games will continue to approach, some of the same things in terms of narrative and what we consider cinematic core values in the game experience, because game makers have, improved their craft. They're older, wiser. It's very much an iterative experience, much in the way that film developed over 100 years.
We know the audience isn't a bunch of mouth-breathing idiots. We know the audience is, compared to a lot of media, it's a pretty sophisticated audience. And so we said, let's make the thing we think we could make, the thing that we think is really cool, and see if they think it's cool. And I think we're really gratified to find out that, yeah, they are really cool and really smart, and they will buy into things and spend their hard-earned money on things that are not, another space marine game, another two shooter. But as well as, those games are awesome too, but it just broadens the space for everybody.
We only have one night a year when we get to actually focus not on the work we're doing, but on recognizing the greatest work that's been done for that year, and being part of that where you actually get to stop work and think about what everyone's done. It's an exciting time.